From the hills of Athens to the Corinth shore, he walked through the gate and the open door. He met a man named Aquila and his faithful wife, sharing the craft and the simple life, working with leather through the heat of the day, finding a rhythm in the master's way,
stitching the days
with a thread of grace
in the golden dust
of the marketplace,
making the tents
for the traveler's rest,
while the word of the Lord
burned in his breast every Sabbath morning in the synagogue hall. He spoke of the mercy that is waiting for all. Hands that were calloused and a spirit so bright, turning the labor into the light, not for the silver and not for the gold, but for the story that was yet to be told.
Tent makers in Corinth, stitching the days, stay chill in the work.
Then hunters came from the cities nearby, turning the people with a bitter lie. They stoned the teacher in the middle of town and dragged him outside as the sun went down. Left for dead in the cooling air, heaving his body to a silent prayer. And but the disciples gathered in a circle of light through the heavy chill of the coming night. He rose from the dust with a heart of stone, stronger than any he had ever known. He walked back in to the city's gate, unshakable soul in the hands of fate. The next day he left for a different land, driven by the touch of a master's hand. Through many hardships we must enter the fold to find the glory that's never been told. Stones of Lystra, rising from the dust, stay chill in the resilience. The 7 days were almost done in the holy place, when the men from Asia saw his tired face. Help us, men of Israel, the shout began to rise under the burning gold of the afternoon skies. They dragged him from the temple as the city turned to fire, caught in the rhythm of an ancient ire, standing on the stairs in the Roman light, a man of the spirit in the middle of a fight. He raised his hand and the silence was deep, a promise of truth that the heavens would keep. In the Hebrew tongue he began to tell of the road to Damascus where the glory fell. From the sun of the work for the Gentiles that had just begun, until they cried out, rid the earth of this man in the cooling shadows of the Master's plan. Storm in the temple, speech on the stairs, stay chill in the chaos. They returned to the cities where the fire began, strengthening the hearts of every woman and man. Remain true to the faith, the brothers were told, as the grace of the Spirit started to unfold. They appointed the elders with fasting and prayer, leaving the work in the Father's care. The journey home to the place of the call, telling the story of the grace for all, how the door of faith was open so wide to the people of the world on the other side. They gathered the church in the evening light, reflecting on the work in the Master's sight. They stayed there long with the friends they knew, in the quiet of the garden and the morning dew. The first journey over, but the mission is new, with a different light in the distant blue, strengthening the soul. The journey home, stay chill in the harvest. In Pisidian Antioch, on the Sabbath day, they sat in the synagogue where the people pray. The rulers asked them, "Have you a word of grace?" Paul stood up tall in that hallowed space. He spoke of the fathers and the desert years, of the promise of David through the joy and tears. Through this man Jesus, forgiveness is yours, breaking the chains and the iron doors. A message of light for the heart and the mind, leaving the shadow of the law behind. The people pleaded, "Tell us more next week of the beauty of grace that we came to see." As the afternoon sun dipped below the wall, the echoes of mercy filled the sacred hall. Not by the law, but by faith in the Son, the victory of heaven has finally been won. Synagogue shadows, the long discourse, stay chill in the wisdom. Stay chill in the wisdom. From Miletus he sent for the elders of the town. As the sun on the water was slowly going down, I served the Lord. With many tears he said, by the path of the Spirit that I've always tread, and now I go to Jerusalem's gate, not knowing the things that I'll find in my fate. Tears on the shore, in the cooling breeze, under the shadow of the olive trees. You will see my face no more on this earth. No moment of sorrow and a moment of birth. He knelt on the sand and he prayed for them all in the golden silence of the Master's call. They wept and they kissed him with a heavy heart, knowing the time had come to depart. They walked to the ship as the anchors were weighed in the peace of the Lord and the promise he made. Farewell, let Miletus see my face no more. Stay chill in the goodbye. The brothers received us with a joy in their heart for the work of the Lord and the missionary part. He told them the stories of the Gentile lands, of the miracles done by the Master's hands. But the whispers were growing in the temple's wing of the things that the teacher was starting to bring. Jerusalem in the sunset and the temple so high, under the gold of the Palestinian sky. Go to the altar and be purified now, to settle the dust and the holy vow. 4 men with a promise and Paul by their side, in the cooling shadows where the traditions hide.
Incense was rising in the courtyard of stone, in a city of kings and a master unknown. The calm before the storm in the house of the Lord, watching for the fire that the ancients saw. Arrival at Jerusalem, temple shadows stay chill in the calm.
From the hills of Athens to the Corinth shore, he walked through the gate and the open door. He met a man named Aquila and his faithful wife, sharing the craft and the simple life. Working with leather through the heat of the day, finding a rhythm in the master's way, stitching the days with a thread of grace in the golden dust of the marketplace, making the tents for the traveler's rest, while the word of the Lord burned in his breast. Every Sabbath morning in the synagogue hall, he spoke of the mercy that is waiting for us. Hands that were calloused and a spirit so bright, turning the labor into the light. Not for the silver and not for the gold, but for the story that was yet to be told. Tent makers in Corinth,
stitching the day,
stay chill in the work,
stay chill in the work.
In the synagogues he preached, Jesus is the Son, and the people were amazed at what had been done. Isn't this the man who caused all the strife? Now he's the one giving his life. The plot was growing at the city gate. They watched day and night to decide his fate. Over the wall in the dead of the night, turning away from the danger in sight. Through the opening in a basket of rope, lowered in silence with a heart full of hope, the shadow of Damascus was left far behind, with a different peace in his heart and his mind. As he reached the ground, in the quiet of the fields, where the freedom was found, no more the hunter, no more the chase, only the rhythm of the Master's grace. Over the wall, the basket of night. Stay chill in the escape. He came to Jerusalem to join the few, but they were afraid of the man they knew. They didn't believe he was a disciple now, with the mark of the Master on his weary brow. But Barnabas came and took him by the hand, the son of encouragement in the Holy Land, the bridge of grace in a world of doubt, bringing the brother from the cold and without. He told him the story of the road and the light, how he preached in Damascus with all of his might. So he stayed with them, moving through the town, as the walls of the fear came tumbling down. Church was at peace throughout the land, built up and strengthened by the Master's hand, living in fear of the Lord on high, under the glow of the afternoon sky. The bridge of grace, welcome to the fold. Stay chill in the fellowship.
Some came down from Judea with a heavy word, the sharpest debate that the church had heard. You must keep the law to be saved from the night. But Peter and Paul stood up for the light. The elders gathered in the cool of the day to find the truth and the Master's way. It is by grace and grace alone, a love that the world has never known. Why put a yoke that we could not bear, when the mercy of heaven is free as the air? The letter was written, the message was clear, casting away every shadow of fear. They sent the brothers with a heart full of peace, that the burden of law should finally cease. Rejoicing in Antioch as the words were read, walk in the grace the Spirit had said. Grace above the law, the council's word. Stay chill in the freedom, in the freedom. They handed him over to the centurion's hand to sail for the coast of the Italian land. From Sidon to Cyprus, the winds were so slow, watching the water in the afternoon glow. At the place called Fair Haves, the autumn was near, and Paul felt the shadow of a coming fear.
Sailing into the wind
On a restless sea, waiting for the moment of his destiny. I see great damage and a danger ahead.
But the pilot followed what the others had said. The south wind blew softly, they weighed the anchor's chain, not knowing the storm and the heavy rain. They passed by the island in the golden blue light before the sun vanished into the night. A warning was given, the truth was ignored in the quietest hour of the only Lord. The fair heavens stay chill on the water. In the church at Antioch, prophets and teachers stood, seeking the heart of the only one who's good. While they were fasting and worshiping the Lord in perfect rhythm and a quiet accord, the Holy Spirit spoke in the silence of the day, set apart Paul and Barnabas to go another way. Set apart for the work that I have planned, to carry the light across the sea and land, with hands laid upon them and a blessing so deep, a sacred promise that the heavens would keep. They sailed away in the afternoon glow, where the winds of the Spirit began to blow. No more the walls of the home they had known, into the world where the seeds would be sown, following the calling in the golden light, a journey of fire in the middle of sight, set apart. The fasting of Antioch, stay chill in the calling.
Euroclydon struck with a violent force. The ship was a cradle, lost from its course. They threw out the cargo, they threw out the gear. 14 days of darkness, 14 days of fear. Neither sun nor the stars appeared in the sky as the hope of the sailors began to die. Keep up your courage, Paul stood in the hold, in the middle of the story that was being told. An angel of God stood by me tonight to turn the darkness into the sight. Not a soul will be lost, only the ship will break, for the sake of the promise and the Father's sake. They dropped for anchors and prayed for the day, waiting for the shadow to turn away. God is the anchor when the world starts to shake. In the middle of the storm and the hearts that ache, the great storm, angel in the Euroclydon, stay chill in the tempest. He came to Ephesus, the city of old, to find the disciples in the Master's fold. Did you receive the Spirit when you believed? A deeper power they had not yet received. For 2 long years in the hall of Tyrannus, he spoke of the light that was living within us. In the hall of Tyrannus, every single day, teaching the world of the Master's way. Extraordinary miracles by the hand of Paul
as the shadow of mercy touched them all. Even the linens and the aprons he wore carried the healing to the rich and the poor. The word of the Lord spread through the land like a fire in the field or a line in the sand. Both Jews and Greeks, they heard the sound where the life of the Spirit was finally found. The hall of Tyrannus, extraordinary miracles. Stay chill in the teaching. And Inez was calling in a vision of night. Go to the street called Straight and find the light. There is a man from Tarsus praying alone, waiting for a mercy that he's never known. But Lord, he is the one who brings us the pain. Go, said the Master, for he is my gain. Brother Saul, the Lord has sent me here to take away the shadow and the heavy fear. He laid his hands on the tired eyes underneath the calm of the Syrian sky. Something like scales fell to the floor as he saw the world like never before. He rose and was baptized in the name of the Son. A brand new chapter had finally begun. He took some food and his strength returned as the fire of the Spirit in his spirit burned. Something like scales, a new sight. Stay chill in the healing.
east to the west. They came to Paphos on a holy quest. A sorcerer stood there with a heart full of lies, trying to cover the proconsul's eyes. But Paul looked at him with the Spirit's own might. You enemy of justice, you son of the night, the hand of the Lord is against you today. The sun will vanish and the light fade away. Immediately a mist and a darkness fell down in the quiet streets of the ancient town. The proconsul saw, and his spirit was turned as the truth of the Master in his heart burned. A sign on the island, a word on the wind, ending the darkness where the Spirit had sinned. The truth is a fire that no mist can hide. With the rock of the ages walking by their side, the sorcerer's mist, the island of Cyprus. Stay chill in the power.
They returned to the cities where the fire began, strengthening the hearts of every woman and man. Remain true to the faith the brothers were told, as the grace of the Spirit started to unfold. They appointed the elders with fasting and prayer, leaving the work in the Father's care. The journey home to the place of the call, telling the story of the grace for all, how the door of faith was open so wide to the people of the world on the other side. They gathered the church in the evening light, reflecting on the work in the Master's sight. stayed there long with the friends they knew, in the quiet of the garden and the morning dew. The first journey over, but the mission is new, with a different light in the distant blue, strengthening the souls, the journey home. Stay chill in the harvest, in the city of Leicester. A man sat still, lame from his birth, with a broken will. He listened to Paul as the words took flight, searching for a spark in the middle of life. Paul looked at him with a spirit so deep, seeing a faith that the Master would keep. Stand up on your feet. The command was clear, casting away every shadow of fear. In a moment of grace, in a moment of pride, he jumped to his feet with the Spirit as guide, walking and leaping through the golden haze, under the warmth of the Father's gaze. The crowd was amazed at the power of the Word, by the greatest miracle they'd ever heard. Faith is the bridge to the life that is new, falling on the heart like the morning dew. The lame man leaps, faith to be healed. Stay chill in the miracle. On the road to Damascus, breathing fire and breath, Saul was walking with a message of death. In the heat of the day, under the blazing sun, a different journey had already begun. Suddenly a light from the heavens broke through, brighter than any that the morning ever knew. Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? A voice on the wind, as deep as the sea. He fell to the ground in the golden dust, a heart full of anger turning to trust. Who are you, Lord? The silence was loud as the glory of heaven came down like a cloud. He stood up trembling, but he could not see. The world was a shadow and a mystery. They led him by the hand through the city gate. 3 days of darkness and a moment to wait. The light on the road, blinded by glory, stayed chill in the darkness.
In Pisidian Antioch, on the Sabbath day, they sat in the synagogue where the people prayed. The rulers asked them, "Have you a word of grace?" Paul stood up tall in that hallowed space. He spoke of the fathers and the desert years, of the promise of David through the joy and tears. Through this man Jesus, forgiveness is yours. Breaking the chains and the iron doors, a message of light for the heart and the mind, leaving the shadow of the law behind. The people pleaded, "Tell us more next week."
of the beauty of grace that we came to see. As the afternoon sun dipped below the wall, the echoes of mercy filled the sacred hall. Not by the law, but by faith in the Son. The victory of heaven has finally been won. Synagogue shadows the long discourse. Stay chill in the wisdom. Before the council, he stood up tall. I have done my duty, was the teacher's call. Between the Sadducees and the Pharisees' pride, the truth was a river that they couldn't hide. The commander feared they would tear him apart, so he took him to the barracks with a troubled heart. The following night the Lord stood near, casting away every shadow of fear. Take courage, Paul, as you have testified here. The path to Rome is finally clear. A voice in the dark, a light in the cell, with a story of grace that he'd always tell. Quiet assurance in the middle of night, turning the prison into the sight. The rock was steady and the word was true. In the golden silence of the morning dew, the Lord stands near. Courage in the barracks, stay chill in the promise.
In the east and the north, the spirit said no. As they tried to go forth, they stood on the shore, where the Aegean flows, waiting for the wind that only he knows. In the middle of the night, a vision was shown. A man from Macedonia, someone unknown. Come over and help us. The calling was clear through the midst of the sea, and the silence of fear, a new horizon. In the golden blue haze, under the warmth of the Father's gaze, so they set sail for the distant shore, opening a path through a brand new door. From Troas to Neapolis, the journey was fast. The first steps in Europe were taken at last. The gospel is moving like a slow-flowing tide, with the rock of the ages walking by their side. The Macedonian dream. Come over and help us. Stay chill in the vision. We landed at Tyre, and we stayed for a week, finding the brothers that we came to seek. At Caesare's house, where the four daughters sang a prophecy of old, in the hallway rang. Agabus came down, and he took the Paul's belt. A silence in the room that everyone felt. The man who owns this will be bound in the town by the hands of the ones who would bring him down. The brothers were weeping, please do not go. But Paul stood firm in the Spirit's own flow. I am ready to die for the name of the Son in the final race that has only begun. the Lord's will be done, we said with a sigh. Under the gates of the afternoon sky, he packed up his things for the road to the light, walking through the shadows to find the sight. The prophet's belt, bound for the name. Stay chill in the resolve. Outside the gates, by the river's flow, where the people of prayer were expected to go, a merchant of purple from Thyatira's land sat listening to Paul in the cooling sand. Lydia was her name, and the Lord opened her heart to find in the Master a brand new stand. Purple linens and the water so sweet, in the quiet reflection where the spirits meet. She and her household were baptized that day as the shadows of Philippi were turning away. If you consider me faithful, come stay at my home, a place of peace under heaven's dome. But the peace was broken by a girl in the street, and the chains of the prison for their tired feet. From the river of prayer to the inner cell, in the middle of a story they were meant to tell. Purple linens, the river of prayer, stay chill in the change. From Puteoli we walked on the Apping Way, meeting the brothers in the light of the day. When Paul saw them coming, his heart was made strong, knowing that the journey was where he belonged. He entered the city where the Caesar was king, with the news of the mercy that the heavens bring. The road to Rome, in the golden hours, speaking of the kingdom and the holy power in his own rented house. For 2 long years, taking away the doubt and the heavy fears, boldly he taught, and without any wall, welcoming the world and the grace for all. The gospel in the heart of the stone, a story of a king that is finally known. The journey is over, but the word is free. Through the long warm hours of eternity, the road to Rome. Boldly and without hindrance, stay chill in the kingdom I'm in. Forty men gathered with a vow of the night: we will not eat until he's out of sight. But the son of his sister heard the plot in the air and told the commander in his hidden lair. 200 soldiers and horsemen too, ready to move as the evening grew. The secret ride through the Judean hills, a destiny moving by the master's wills. Under the moon and the Roman sword, protecting the servant of the only Lord. Safe in Caesarea by the break of the day, as the shadows of the ambush were turning away. The governor's palace by the cooling sea, to wait for the moment of his destiny. The plans of the wicked are scattered like dust in the hands of the Father that we always trust. The secret ride, cavalry at night. Stay chill in the protection.
The ship hit the sand where the two seas met, broken by the water and the winter's threat. 276, they reached the land, welcomed by the kindness of a stranger's hand. A fire was built in the pouring rain to take away the chill and the heavy pain. On the shore of Malta, in the cooling air, finding the mercy and a silent prayer, a viper struck his hand, but he shook it away into the fire. At the break of the day, they thought he was a god, but he showed them the sun, healing the broken, until the work was done. He stayed for 3 months in the island's light, curing the sick in the middle of sight. They gave them the things that they needed to go, as the grace of the Spirit began to grow. The shore of Malta, the viper and the fire, stay chill in the healing.
From the island of Cyprus, from the east to the west, they came to Paphos on a holy quest. A sorcerer stood there with a heart full of lies, trying to cover the proconsul's eyes. But Paul looked at him with the Spirit's own might. You enemy of justice, you son of the night. The hand of the Lord is against you today. The sun will vanish and the light fade away. Immediately a mist and a darkness fell down in the quiet streets of the ancient town. The proconsul saw, and his spirit was turned as the truth of the Master in his heart burned. A sign on the island, a word on the wind, ending the darkness where the Spirit had sinned. The truth is a fire that no mist can hide. With the rock of the ages walking by their side, the sorcerer's missed the island of Cyprus. Stay chill in the power. Paul stood in the middle of the Areopagus. Men of Athens, I see your desire to know. I walked through your streets and I found a place, an altar to a God without a name or face. What you worship in ignorance, I come to declare, the Lord of the heavens and the earth and the air. The unknown God is closer than you think. He gives us the breath and the food and the drink. He doesn't live in temples made by the hand. He's the one who created the sea and the land. In Him we live and we move and we are beyond the horizon and the distant star. He overlooked the times of the darkness and pride, but now the door is open wide. He has set a day to judge with a sign by the man he has raised in a glory divine. The unknown God, sermon on Mars Hill, stay chill in the presence. The ship hit the sand where the two seas met, broken by the water and the winter's threat. 276, they reached the land, welcomed by the kindness of a stranger's hand. A fire was built in the pouring rain to take away the chill and the heavy pain. On the shore of Malta, in the cooling air, finding the mercy and a silent prayer, a viper struck his hand, but he shook it away into the fire at the break of the day. They thought he was a god, but he showed them the sun, healing the broken until the work was done. He stayed for 3 months in the island's light, curing the sick in the middle of sight. They gave them the things that they needed to go as the grace of the Spirit began to grow. The shore of Malta, the viper and the fire, stay chill in the healing. On the first day of the week, in the upper room, the lamps were burning against the midnight gloom. Paul spoke until the morning because he had to go, while the oil in the vessels was burning soft and low. A young man named Eutychus sat within the frame, watching the stars and the holy flame falling from the third floor in a deep, deep sleep. A silence in the house that was heavy and deep. But Paul went down and took him in his arms, shielding the boy from the shadow and harms. Don't be alarmed,
For his life is with
in the quiet of the night, where the miracles begin. They went back upstairs and they broke the bread, talking till the dawn. As the darkness fled, they took the lad home, alive and well, with a story of grace that they'd always tell. The window at midnight, life in the third floor, stay chill until the dawn.